Last series, a Hollywood stuntman taught Vicky some tricks of the trade, revealing how you get hit by a car in the movies. For our next exercise, we're going to recreate that most familiar of Hollywood stunts, the roadblock. We'll be familiar with the scene. Our brave hero's path has been blocked by the bad guys, who've parked their cars right across the road. But undeterred, he floors the throttle, bursts through the cars, and drives off into the distance. In reality, of course, it'd be nothing like that. You'd be lucky to walk away from a crash with 4 cars, let alone drive away with your own car intact. So how do they do it in the movies? Well, to find out, we're going to set up our very own 4-car roadblock and see if a specially prepared Jaguar can burst straight through it. And as a grand finale, we'll show the stunt in context in a 5th gear movie action sequence. The man behind the wheel will be skilled professional stuntman Steve Trulia. He's ex-Special Forces, has worked on the last 2 Bond films, and was last seen driving into a signpost at 60 miles an hour for 5th gear. With over 10 years' experience, he's the man for the job. So if you're doing this with standard unprepared cars, what would happen?
Well, the crash would be enormous if you're hitting a car with an engine in it and a gearbox in it with all of that weight. I think you'd be resulting in a serious injury. So we've modified these cars slightly. As you can see, we've taken the engine and the gearbox out. So we've reduced a little bit of weight. So we're going to have the least point of resistance here at the front. And that will give me the best chance of passing through the cars and still causing the sort of impact that we'd like to see.
In the week building up to the crash, Steve's team have been painstakingly preparing the roadblock cars, stripping out the engines, gearboxes and drive shafts. And to minimise the risk of fire, the fuel tanks have also been taken out. On the day, heavy-duty casters are discreetly bolted to the cars. It's a movie trick to maximise the effect and minimise the danger. They provide less resistance than normal tyres, the idea being that the roadblock should simply swing open like saloon doors. Vital to the whole stunt succeeding is the alignment of the roadblock.
What about the actual positioning of the cars? How important is that? Do you want them sort of almost ready to flip round?
We've got them quite straight, perpendicular to my direction of travel, so that hopefully there's more chance of them pushing through. But it's an unknown quantity whether how far we'll get through these cars.
There's also quite a lot of distance between them. Is that deliberate?
It's very deliberate, yeah. There's about a car's width between these two and a little bit. And the reason for that is that I'm hoping they'll come together out of the way. Then I push through, and by the time that happens, they're scraping down the side of my car. My car's still got some forward momentum.
So what are you going to use as your actual target? What bit of the Jaguar do you want to use to hit the cars?
If you look at the gap that we've got here, the grille just about fits in the gap. And what I've done, which is something that I always do, is put a little marker on the windscreen. Sometimes I put it on the windscreen wiper. You'll see a little bit of gaffer tape in there, which I've lined up with the front corner of this car. So I know that when that's lined up, this is exactly straight. That's the purpose of bringing the car up to here.
These preparations are proven movie methods, but for 5th gear, Steve's upping the ante. For maximum visual impact, he'll hit the cars at twice his normal stunt speed, a life-threatening 50 miles an hour.
What do you think your chances are of getting all the way through, flicking them out the way as planned?
50-50.
It's an unprecedented speed for a crash on this scale, and nobody knows exactly what will happen. To improve the odds, Steve needs a good car around him. And the innate strength and long bonnet of this Jaguar XJ make it the perfect stuntman's friend. With a reinforced floor pan, a 4-point harness and special polycarbonate inner windows, it takes on tank-like qualities. The interior has been completely stripped out, and a modified roll bar designed specifically for today's stunt has been added. If something goes wrong, at least the passenger compartment should remain intact. Once a vehicle's been prepared for a stunt like this, that's all it's used for. You don't want a mechanical failure at a vital moment, so a film would have a whole fleet of identical cars to use for other shots. And so have we. Well, it's not quite a fleet, but all of our driving shots will be filmed in a duplicate Jag to preserve the all-important stunt car. All we need to do is swap the number plates over and nobody will ever know. A visual trick of the trade is to add explosives to the roadblock to make it look more violent. We want to keep it realistic so there'll be no huge fireballs, just a few special pops and sparks to add to the spectacle. Pyrotechnics exploded at the point of impact will add to the effect, and to make the crash look really violent, small detonators are added to the windows to blow them out. We're also structurally weakening the cars at strategic points, so bits should fly off when they're hit, further increasing the drama.
Action!
All we need to do now is film an exciting build-up to the crash. Throw in some bad guys giving chase, a couple of hired thugs at the roadblock, and we're ready to go. We're revealing the secrets behind a Hollywood roadblock stunt. Our stuntman, Steve Trulier, is going to drive his Jaguar into this 4-car roadblock at 50 miles an hour, twice the normal speed for a typical stunt crash. All the cars involved have been specifically prepared, and in theory, the Jag should just burst through the middle. But no one's done this stunt at this speed before. We don't know for sure what will happen. If the casters fail, then the cars could just sit there and the full force of the impact would be taken by Steve. At 50 miles an hour, the deceleration would be immense. He might not even survive. These small wheels could be the difference between success and a spectacular failure.
OK, guys, we're going to do the car crash right now. In terms of safety...
The only thing left to do is the final safety briefing. It's time to go.
Let's do it.
The paramedics rush in to check on Steve. It's obvious the cars flew away as we hoped, but were the preparations enough to keep Steve safe?
Look at that. Excellent. That was 48 miles an hour, so just a smite under. I split the difference.
Here, what did it feel like in there?
Yeah, quite big. The deceleration was nowhere near as bad as I thought it would be, actually.
Yeah. So it hardly slowed the car at all.
Hardly slowed the car at all. Went straight way through, didn't it? Just slowed it a bit, didn't it? I'm very, very impressed. And the car was rigged beautifully, which really helped. So that was great. I'm amazed at how far that's moved.
Yeah.
It's incredible, isn't it?
That's brilliant.
Fantastic.
I think it's an amazing success. Well done.
Cheers, John. Thank you. Any more harebrained schemes?
Yes, I think more of that.
Fabulous. Great.
This high-speed stunt was a spectacular success. Steve had a precise spot to aim at, and he got it dead on. The extra speed and the spacing caused a domino effect when he hit the roadblock. The first two cars were sent crashing out of the way into the rear pair, giving Steve a relatively unhindered route through the middle. And the casters worked so well that the Volvo was flung all the way into the field. When you consider the damage done to the roadblock cars, the condition of the Jaguar is unbelievable. Dented wings and a broken radiator is a real testament to the strength of the car and the preparations done for the stunt. Amazingly, it was still drivable. The final element is the movie scene. To work on the big screen, it's all about angles, and we had 6 different cameras filming our stunt. All we need to do now is cut the shots together, and we'll have another marvellous 5th gear action sequence.
Got it.